Hi everyone, this is Rashi. I'm a life coach, I'm a tarot reader, and welcome to my channel Manifest Your Quest. Today I have a brilliant guest before me who is none other than Mr. Swaroop Mohanty. He is a natural leader, a trailblazer, and he's a veteran, has worked his way to the very top. He is the CEO of Mirai Asset Global Investment India, moving up to handle a much larger APAC role. He is a maverick of his own domain and a totally people's man. Having an experience of 25 years, he can really enlighten us in many areas, I'm sure, guys. So I understand, Swaroop, that under your leadership, you have helped your team flourish to reach greater heights, going on to become one of the most reputable mutual funds of the country. So let me present you all Mr. Swaroop Mohanty. I'm sure even money feels safer to grow in his hands. Right, guys? So here is Mr. Swaroop Mohanty. First, I will. You now know who is Mr. Swaroop Mohanty. Let him speak a bit, and then I'll go on and go on with my questions.
So Rashi, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's a privilege, and thank you so much for your kind words. And I don't know if I deserve them or not, but I'm looking forward to this discussion with you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Like, I've been really waiting for this interview, and I'm sure my viewers are of the same mind. So firstly, I'll ask you, how do you describe yourself in a quote or a song? I know that you are a very well-read, very informed person. So I know you have something for yourself to say about yourself.
I think I'll take the music route because that's my biggest passion. I listen to a lot of music.
Oh, beautiful.
And to say that to find myself with one song difficult, so I'll use two songs. I think one which is, of course, all of us have grown up with Kishore Kumar, and the kind of life songs which Kishore Kumar has given us. I don't think you put the rest of the world together, it'll be too small in front of them. But very early in my career, or when I was a young boy, I heard the song Main Hu Jum 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 Jumru, and that's probably one of my theme songs. I sing it on the subconscious many a times, especially when you reflect on the lines. When he says that manzil pe meri nazar, main duniya se bekhabar, बीती बातों पे धूल उड़ाता चला, is cannot get bigger than that when you define, or I believe that that's what my life is all about. You have a manzil and you follow that all your life, and you forget the past, and you can do that much about the past. And then when I grew up and I started my working career, I went to Delhi, and it was a very different city. Coming from a small town from Bhubaneswar to go to Delhi, it was a pretty daunting task. And at that point of time, of course, there was a great movie which came. This was Flashdance, and there was a great singer called Eileen Cara, and she sang a song called What a Feeling. That's like my anthem. And it goes like, first there was nothing. When we begin your career, there's absolutely nothing with you. And there is a glowing dream. All of us have a dream. And there is this fear deep inside, which is always inside your mind. And when you go to a big city, you really get self-shocked, and hence you do cry at times, and there are silent tears, but they're full of pride in a world made of steel, made of stone. That's what you feel when you come from a small city to a big city. So these two songs would probably sum up my life.
Beautiful, and you have described it so well. These songs, how they are relevant to you, that is simply amazing. And the next question, I will not keep you wait. Like, I'll keep on asking you, throwing you questions. So, your career in the field of finance, is it by design, or is it a default? Like, you stumbled into it, or was it? Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting question, because I come from Bhubaneswar. Both my parents are professors in zoology. So, you are that teacher's kid and a teacher's kid. And let me tell you, if my mother retired as the principal of the number 1 college there, and my father retired as the principal of the number 2 college there. So probably they would be one of the most powerful education couples in Bhubaneswar. And when you are the teacher's kid of science professors, there is a path laid out for you. And there is a way a teacher's son has to behave. And there is a career laid down. And in my days, the career was very simple. You first aspire to be in the civil services because that's where the glamour is. And below that, if you become an engineer or a doctor, and after that, the banking sector also. I mean, the PSU banks always had a big sort of flavor in our society. But very early on, I was not very good at science. It was not my forte. So when I told my father that post class 12, it's not possible for me to do science, there was obviously a lot of shock, a lot of anger at home, and a very stoic silence post that, ki abhi tu science nahi karega, so what will you do? And I said I wanted to study commerce. I had just one thing in life, is to earn money the right way. And at that point of time, I do not know why, but I felt financial services. It was not by accident, it's by desire. Financial services is where I would be. And those were the times of privatization and when Manmohan Singh sort of liberalized this country step by step. So it was an attraction. My basic thing, which I told my father, that I want to earn money, but I want to pay all my taxes. And I want to earn money the right way. And there was this career path which I chose, which I thought was the right way forward. I didn't know that it would unfold this way. But yes, I had chosen this path very early on in my life.
Beautiful. When you have such powerful people in your life, then what happens? It is very difficult to say no to these people. And I understand being your parents being principal. So I know what you would be going through. Like
Rashi, I must give credit to them that they didn't agree with me, but they did not stop me.
Oh, wonderful.
And that's probably one of the biggest learning of parenting, that you may not agree with your kid, but if he or she has a dream, then let him or her just flourish. And I remain grateful to my parents for having let me do something which was not in their wish or whim or their thought, but they never stopped me from doing what I wanted to do.
Amazing, I must say. Amazing. Because as Indian kids, we have all gone through that thing. That you should do this. And I belong from Bihar. And as you said that for us, UPSC or engineering or yeah, that is
I
the
keep on
priority.
joking that it still has the number 1 dowry value back at home in 2021.
Absolutely, it's how we are shown the world. This is how we see the view. We view the world through their eyes. So tell me, first I would like to ask you about your journey up here. How has it been?
See, I think when you start your journey from a small town to a big town, first the big town hits you, and it's a cultural sort of shock which comes to face you. And from Bhubaneswar to Delhi, it was like 2 different worlds. And I went to Delhi to do my higher studies. I did my MBA there, and somehow the campus placement didn't work out to my plan. So I had to restart my life again. And I remember I joined a company where I think in 1994-95, my take-home salary was some 2,000 or 2,200 rupees. And I couldn't afford anything. So I started my life in a garage in Gitanjali Enclave near Saket in Delhi. And from then on, it's been a journey. It's been a tough journey, but very fulfilling, I must say. It's been a challenging sort of path for us, because some people think in financial services, especially because our raw material is money. And every day your integrity is tested, because where there is money, there is a shortcut, right? So from that perspective, one has to survive the industry first, then become successful. So it's been 25, 26 years since that day. but every year has been fulfilling, and more important, I enjoy doing what I do, and managing somebody else's money is not easy. The trust that is entrusted on you is something one has to really enjoy and take that responsibility. It gives you a huge kick in life.
Absolutely, I can imagine that. But I'm sure my viewers, they are really, sitting on the edge, wanting to know how has it been. You have been able to manifest. Let me ask you more questions, like so that they'll be able to understand. You have said you have come such a long way from a small town to the place you are. Here is someone who's a CEO sitting beside me, like on the Zoom call, literally on the Zoom call, sitting beside me, right, guys? And here is someone who has like dreamt big, and he is big now. So, what is it like to be? Do you believe in manifestation? Let me ask you first that.
This is your birthday. You should be telling me this rather than asking me this.
Absolutely. You have been manifesting it. So perhaps you don't know, but I would like to know what all childhood dreams have you been able to manifest all this time?
See, I think when you start off from a small town, of course, my wife tells me this, as you rightly said, it's always been on the subconscious is what she tells me, that I go from one goal to the next goal. I never think that way. I don't believe that, you can successfully manifest the outcome of something. What you can do properly is your own control, your own action. More important, control your controllables. That's what I do. And earlier in my life, I would more concentrate on the outcome rather on what I can do. But over the years, and age has caught up with me. So with that sort of thing, I just concentrate on what I can do. And I'm pretty confident over the years that if I do it right, and if I give it my 100%, the outcome will come. That's the confidence which has come up over the years. But yes, over my life, I think, I've had fulfilling life so far. I see there is always a bucket list of what you want to do, what you don't want to do, and life is about ticking that one by one, and there is a huge list still left. But I think some of the fulfilling things that have happened over the years, and because of my job and of my desire of travel and meeting people, I think the different cultures that I've come across, the kind of people that I've met, I feel has been a very fulfilling sort of experience. Because of us handling money, people don't keep secrets from us. So getting into other people's lives, see how people work their lives around finance and other aspects is a huge sort of insight for me. And that's only led me to understand life better. And I think look at life with a very different perspective. See what happens over the years is, clearly for any person, I feel is a personal opinion. The less you judge others, the better a person you become. And I think my meeting people and understanding life from them has led me to a position where I don't judge people. And I think if I were to give one fulfilling thing or experience about my life, this is what I would say is where it stands today.
Well, I must say, we shouldn't judge anyone. That is something which I have also been telling my husband, like everyone around me. Like, how can we be judging people? Is it not the worst thing in the world? But to tell you the truth, Swaroop, over the time, I have learned, like, even if you don't judge, the world will keep judging you, right? But yes,
okay.
our work is to keep going, right? That is what. Yes.
Absolutely.
So, what is it that you find most enriching in your life, most entertaining and most interesting? Because I understand that you are a walking encyclopedia. That is what I have got to know.
See, I think what I like about my life is, it's been a journey of meeting people. It's been because of my work in the capital markets. It's a life full of getting knowledge every day, and of course, every day knowing that what you knew yesterday was nothing. So you start the journey every day seeking more knowledge. The knowledge, because my knowledge is about two parts. One is understanding the world of money and how it figures in people's lives. So it is a combination of both. So when you combine the two, it's a pretty lethal combination. I mean, money and people's lives. So that's been a very fulfilling part of my life. And from a personal perspective, you lead your life from being or trying to be a good son, which I was not in the first half of my life. I'm trying to be one now. Then when you get married, obviously you try to be a good husband. That's a perpetual journey. And then I think the biggest challenge happens when you become a parent. And being a good son, a good father to your son is a journey which I don't think there is any grid on that. And that's a challenge, perpetual challenge, to be able to let your child grow and be able to express himself in the way he or she wants is something which is a big challenge for all of us as parents. So that's where it is. I think from the work front, it's been the knowledge that I get by reading up and by meeting people, and from your personal life, the pleasure of wanting to be a good son or wanting to be a good husband or to be a good father is what completes the life. And to top it all up, I have some great friends who are like family, and they share my same passion in life. When we get together, it is a riot. And we travel together. Some of us have been traveling for 20 years together now, holidaying together in the jungles. We love the wildlife, so to go out and see animals in the wild, and to see a tiger in the wild straight into his or her eyes, or the tigress's eyes, is probably the peak of one's life.
Beautiful. I must say that you have that adventure in you. One side I can understand you're totally into a corporate thing, and the other side you're an outdoorsy person, right? And this is like huge adventure. Tigers and jungles. This is not like normal people will go out to, but yes, they will definitely want to do that. They have been dreaming to do that, but I wonder how many of us have those things, been able to do that. Wonderful.
No, I did Pench on the 5th of March, and then the lockdown happened, so I was lucky to be able to do it just before the lockdown.
Well, actually, beautiful. Must say, beautiful. I'm sure that you would love to go to South Africa and actually, where you get to meet the lions and you can.
No, I did Kenya recently, so that was a fulfilling sort of experience.
Oh, beautiful! You had that thing that you experienced that already. Yes. That's a wonderful experience.
So when I said that there are a lot of things to do, Kruger in South Africa is part of the bucket list. Hopefully, I should be able to do it soon.
Oh, so
but we wanted to go and do some whales recently in Sri Lanka. Let's see if I can go and see some whales. I was supposed to do it on the 19th of March because I was supposed to go to New Zealand. It got cancelled due to the COVID lockdown. But once it opens up, I have to go and see some whales, either in New Zealand or I'll go to Sri Lanka and see them very soon.
I understand you're a nature and a total jungle freak. I understand that. Where I'm sure most people today are dying to do that, but they are actually not very, sure of it, whether they should go about it or not. Like they want to do it.
They should go because it's the outdoors, and the nature there is very different, and you cannot be more at peace than when you are with nature.
Absolutely, this is something which is a fact. Very true. So let me come back to it, and let me ask you a question. What is that one eureka moment that sparked in your life that you would really, go back to, and you can pull it out from your life? Yes, this was the moment.
Actually, very difficult to find one eureka moment because there have been so many. I used to be in Bhubaneswar doing my own thing, and suddenly a mentor of mine said, "This is not your life. Leave this place," because I was getting into things or path on life which was deviating from my career, and he took me away just out of nothing. Took me away to Delhi. He's now a very established civil servant in Odisha back at home, and so my life or my career took a different turn because I went to Delhi to study, and I found this path of mine in my career. Of course, you start working, then the other eureka moment which happens is when you get married. it's a big moment in everybody's life. And I married my college friend, and then when you get married, that you feel that you are set in life, and whatever big change that was supposed to happen did happen. But then your kid comes into your life, and that's probably the biggest change that can happen. If one thinks marriage is change in life, it's nothing compared to becoming a parent. And then your career sort of takes over. But if I were to go back and pick on one sort of eureka moment, I would say that it's getting married to my friend, because she remains my friend even now. She is my biggest friend and my biggest critic, and she's a professional HR person. She's just completed her PhD, and her PhD is in my line, which is burnout of financial professionals. So I have a guide at home who keeps me on track, and that's probably the eureka moment which sort of changed, because from that I became a structured person, and a lot of things happened post that.
Beautiful. I think this actually requires an applaud, and kudos to your wife to be there, and your friend, your wife, your critic, your biggest critic, and everything. And kudos to her for what you are today. And I'm sure that whatever you are getting in life is because of you both are there together. I'm not a relationship coach today, but I really want to talk about relationship now. That's okay. But what I really want to know is, since you were talking about Eureka moment, so is there some kind of transformation moment that you would talk about from this topic?
Yes,
onwards?
absolutely. I mean, otherwise
Something
it won't be a Eureka moment.
that really took you from lows to high, something which really changed your life.
Yes, otherwise it won't figure as the Eureka moment, right?
Mhm.
See, I was a indisciplined person, right?
Mhm.
And I was very, what can I say? I was not at all punctual. As a person, I would really think that I would smile my way through, use my charm to being late in meetings, and I thought that was the way in life, but that was not the way. I mean, and she's the one who taught me punctuality. She's the one who taught me discipline. Even today, she does that. I still have a long way to go on being completely disciplined. But and more important, I think there are times when you lose your way in your path, and you get carried away by certain things in your life which are suppose happening in your good days. And typically, she's always been that outside person who's kept a bird eye view on me, and said, hey, this is something which you are not doing right. I know you will not like it when I'm telling you this, but you have to do this. And at times, and trust me, I've not liked it when I've heard that from her. And if I reflect back, if I wouldn't have changed on those things at that point of time, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you today. Because when you're handling money as a raw material in your life, in your work front, the only thing that is required is discipline, nothing else. Your integrity is on test every day at your work, right? And if you don't have, I mean, your book is mentioned, Martina Navratilova, talking about everything between the 2 years. It's about everything between your 2 years, right? And if that part is messed up, then everything is messed up.
Very
right?
true.
And it's been, see, we started our life with a mattress. We didn't have money to have a bed also in our lives. Okay, that's where we started our life. So if one were to complain, one can complain about everything in life. But she's taught me to look at life with that glass half full. Never do I focus on the empty part of the glass at all.
I must say, you've got a mentor, you've got a wife, you've got a friend, you've got everything right beside you. So why wouldn't you flourish and be really what you are today? Like you are one of the luckiest ones, I'm sure on that. And definitely, I simply loved the way you are actually talking about your wife now. I really want to meet her also as well. One day, let's actually meet up.
Do that. We'll do that soon.
Yeah, sure. So, since it's so lovely to hear from you that you have come such a long way, so I want you to tell me, what is that piece of advice for the viewers here? like when life throws unprecedented scenarios and challenges at you, then what is it that you should really have in you? That attitude, what is it that you need to have to really stand
Rashi,
strong?
I think if life does not give you these challenges and unprecedented moments, it would be a very boring life, right? Life
True.
is about such things, and life is about learning from such things. Yes, one will make mistakes, one will make tremendous blunders initially, but the key is to learn from those blunders. The key is to be brutally honest with oneself. See, Rashid, the way I look at it is it's very early on that one has to realize that one is not the smartest person on earth. And one has to be very comfortable with one's shortcomings. More important, realize your shortcomings. I always am in awe of people who do not have much talent, but due to their determination and grit, rise in life. That means they are aware of their lack of talent or how much talent they have. And when these things come about, I mean, who would have known that in normal days we would be doing this in front of each other, right? But we are doing this on Zoom at a time when Mumbai is completely shut down. This is like a thing that we see in the movies, right? That is what life has thrown up to us, correct? And I'm so proud to say that today my job is essential service. I'm supposed to go to work every day in spite of this health hazard being around us, and I came back from office just to do this, otherwise I was sitting in office in the morning. And the whole thing, again, I'll bring back that same, your example of Martina Navratilova and everything between the 2 years. It's to, over the years, you practice becoming calm, you practice courage. I've been very fortunate to read some great people in my life, and one of them is Nick Murray, who said that you're not born with courage, you have to practice courage. You have to give your mind homework and then let the mind answer the next day. So when such things come, first thing is to remain calm. It's easier said than done, but it comes with experience. And if you remain calm and you're able to see the situation from the outside, you can come to a conclusion very early. And that's key. If you can maintain that, you're bound to make mistakes, and don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes teach you everything.
That's something which is you have experienced, and you're talking through experience, guys. So guys, we need to understand what he is talking. He has been through so much of challenges that he has talked about. He was telling us that he has started his life with a mattress, right? That's what you were saying, right? And he has come up such a long way, guys. So the challenges that he has faced is much, much more than what we have seen in a life, perhaps, or normal people that have seen. You have actually literally taken up challenges. Come, yeah, come. I'm going to deal with it, right? Hasn't it been this way, Swaroop? Tell me.
You don't want them, but they come. When they come, yes, you have to deal with it.
Yeah, but once they come, it's like when you are overcoming the hurdles, you are actually reaching the finish line, right? And when you're reaching the finishing line, you're much more confident and you're much more in a different state of mind altogether, right? So, and here again, I'm coming to the question of manifesting. So guys, I feel that perhaps Swaroop has been manifesting in a different way altogether, through his persistence, through his tenacity. And this is what I'm talking in my book. Here I have sent him a copy of my book, and this is what he was mentioning there. And I believe that he's one of the trailblazers that I've mentioned in my book. So here again, I'm going to ask you this. In your earlier career of sales, did you have any specific manifesting techniques that help?
Yeah. I think, Rashi, being a salesperson, everything that your life is about your target. But I'll divide my life of sales into two parts. In my earlier life, I was only concentrating on the target, which is the outcome, right? And because I was concentrating on the outcome, the path that I was taking was not exactly the right path. I was deviating from the path at times when you're running out of time and your target has to be met. You start taking shortcuts. And over a period of time, I was, and that's where, burnout happens. That's when all the what can I say, the shortcomings in you come out, because you are concentrating on the outcome, which is completely out of your hands. But one of my bosses in the middle of my career said that if you do your process right, the outcome is given. It was very easy, very difficult to believe it initially. But he was demonstrating it. He was telling that, "Ye mera sales life hai. This is how I go about doing my sales life. And if you do this, your outcome will come." But the second half of my life, I started controlling the controllables only. I do my process of sales with due diligence and absolute, what can I say, integrity, and I give it everything I have. And trust me, that's the change that has happened, is the outcome has started happening in a far more controlled manner than it was happening earlier. I don't take shortcuts anymore. We are a very regulated industry where, because we handle money, there are rules and regulations about everything we do. I don't deviate from the rules at all. It is black and white for me. I work with a Korean organization for the last 10 years now. And the beauty about working with the Koreans is it is yes or no. We Indians are in the maybe, little diplomatic. Kuch kar lenge, abhi 12 mahina hai, don't worry. While we won't have a clue of how we will be, but working with them has also taught me how to be very clear of what you want and more clear of what you will not want and what you will not do. I think over the years of sales, I've become more clear of what I will never do in life, and that has, I think, helped me a lot.
Wonderful, I must say. Like, knowing that you have to tread this path and understanding that yes, and that you have followed your mentor is again, I understand this comes with experience, right? Unless and until you have seen that yes, you were following an outcome, you were just following like through, I have to follow my outcome, but later on you understood that this is the path, and that can only be done through experience and through persistence and through tenacity. Exactly, right? Wonderful. And tell me, I know that it is supposed to be, people say that it's very lonely at the top. What do you have to say about it? That today I know that you are a people's man, and what have you to say about this?
See, it will be lonely if you make it lonely. If you push people away from you, then it will become lonely. If people in your organization have to think twice before calling you or sending you a message, then there is an issue. If you have to think twice before calling up anybody or sending him or her a message, then there is an issue. It will be lonely, like I said, if you make it lonely. Yes, what happens is at say the chief executive level, you are alone and the others have a team. So that is where the loneliness is sort of restricted to. But it is not exactly that. And, you have to respect people's hierarchy and respect their jobs, give them space to express themselves. If you are hiring different people from different cultures, you have to respect the fact that they will come with different mindsets, and you hire them for them to be able to express themselves. So if you are in an organization where people are fearless to come and speak their mind out or to express themselves, you feel your job is fairly done. And that has been the aspiration, to sort of be part of an organization where all of us want to come to office, number one. Number two, if they come to office, then they are themselves. As simple as that. They shouldn't be acting or behaving in a manner which they are not. If you get into that and then you let the young in the organization flourish, I think because the demography of India is changing very, very quickly, and the young, let's face it, are far more confident than what we were at that age. The ability of them to come in and change the organization is pretty dramatic, and if you let that happen, I don't think it's a lonely world at all.
Okay, here is some learning from Swaroop, that it's not actually lonely. You can't, unless and until you make it lonely, right? So there is something I want to know, since you are in this field of ever-changing, world of money. So I understand that you need to how do you keep reinventing yourself as a leader so that your quest for excellence as a leader is achieved?
Actually, I've been very fortunate that I handle money. And money itself is so dynamic that it keeps pushing us. Every day the meaning of money in people's lives is changing. Let's face one fact that one can hide one's own physical health issues and survive for some time, but one cannot hide one's financial health issues and survive in today's world. So if that be the position of yours in somebody's life, and you actually are in a position where you are creating money for somebody who already knows how to make money, you don't need any more motivation. It's self motivational for your own life. And because the markets are dynamic and they change so rapidly, and the products themselves change so rapidly, that it is egging you on every day to come and change yourself. I'll tell you a very life-changing moment for me, because I work in Mirae Asset, and my chairman is a gentleman called Mr. Hyun Joo Park, and he's one of the most respected Koreans in South Korea. He told me one day that we Koreans will achieve more than you Indians, in spite of you guys being better than us in maths. I said, how is that possible? He said, you Indians are very emotional. You are always in yesterday. We Koreans, we destroy yesterday. So from that day, that's been one of my biggest life earnings. I have destroyed yesterday, and every day is a new day for me. And then at Mirae Asset, all of us, we destroy yesterday. And if you feel we are doing well, you come to our organization, you will feel that raat gayi, baat gayi, it's a new day every day, and we come back to normalcy or normal life in a new day, and that keeps on happening. So it is motivational enough.
Absolutely. It's like living in the now, right?
Correct.
Like
Correct.
living in the moment, like trying to understand what is it, the current that it is giving you.
And not rest on your past laurels at all. Not at all. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. It's a very good learning, Swaroop, I must say this, because past is something which emotions also, take us back there and actually pull us down in many parts.
Correct.
So this is a very good learning that even my viewers would agree with me, that today, living in the now and living in today is something which is very important. So here is something which, if you are comfortable with, if you can share it with us, could you please share with my viewers the first few things that you get up and do in the morning? Like, Robin Sharma says, the 5 a.m. club, you need to do this. Being a CEO, these are few things which...
I am a very boring person. I get up, I have my tea. I'm a tea addict. So that's something
we lost you for, I think, 1 minute or so. If you can come back with what do you do in the morning, like tea, we just got that. Yeah.
Okay. So I get up in the morning and I have my tea. I'm a tea addict, and my wife was joking today morning that you are a sahab, you get bed tea in even Mumbai. Yes, I'm very fortunate, I must say. I must thank her for that. But after that, I'm a very boring person. But recently, I've started cycling because I needed to up my health a bit. And I think 3 times a week, I do get up and I go out, take my cycle out. After that, I think post-breakfast till the journey to my office is getting your mind ready for the daily office work, because there's a schedule which is already there for you, and to mentally prepare for that. But when I come back home, then my office is over.
Okay. So you are totally home, mentally and physically, right?
No, I do not know whether my family will agree with me with this, but over the years I've become better.
Okay. So it's a process actually. It's not like, it's very difficult to drop the office right at the doorstep, right?
Yeah, I'm a movie addict, I'm a Netflix addict, so I'm a music addict. So all those come into the life. There is enough to do.
Absolutely. It is such a pleasure talking to you that I'm not able to stop myself. There is one more question. Maybe perhaps you have answered it, but even then, let me go about it. Would you share what and when has given you real clarity in life? What is it?
I think 2 things. I think first, was the turning moment was my marriage, because it was a completely deviation from what my life earlier to that was. I think I became more responsible. I still am trying to be responsible after that. I think the other clarity was when I joined Mirae Asset almost 10 years ago. It was a very different organization to what I had worked for. And I was able to polish my skills and some of the responsibilities that came my way post that were pretty humbling, and these were huge responsibilities. So being able to stand up to those responsibilities initially was a huge challenge. I didn't know whether I was up for it or not. But it's been 5 years as the CEO now, and it took me 2-3 years to come to terms with the fact of the work profile. But post that, I've been settling down and understanding the enormity of the job, and I think that's been the biggest turning point from a career perspective.
Mm-hmm. So this I understand that like one is your joining Mirae Asset, and the other was like meeting your wife and getting married to her, right?
Yeah.
These brought real clarity.
Completely shift in life. Complete shifts in life.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now I would come to my book, since you have read my book. So, and you actually, embody the traits of the trailblazers that I've mentioned in my book. So if some, review coming out from the trailblazer, that will be wonderful for my book. Yeah.
See, I think, Rashi, I let me confess, I don't read much nowadays. And over the years, I've become very bad at reading books. Most of my reading is online, which are short articles. I'm not good at reading lengthy stuff. But I read your book within yesterday night. That's when you sent it in today. And that speaks of the book in itself, that a person like me who does not read much was able to read it out at one go, which doesn't happen to me very often. I'll be very frank about it. But it's about the way you've written it. It's about, it addresses negativity in a positive manner. Right? It addresses shortcomings in a very creative manner. I think what I loved is the tasks you've given at the end of every chapter, which put things in perspective. You do this, then you will be able to overcome this. Right? That is what I said. It was very positive in manner. I think some of the examples that you've given, whether it's from Neo in Matrix to Donald Bradman, are very relatable. I think even you did mention The Wolf of the Wall Street, which is our lives practically. So you picked up great examples from across different facets in life. You mentioned Navratilova. Even the way you related to time and Neo was something which I actually stood up and related very immediately. It's not that he'd stopped time, but he'd risen up above time, which is something which can happen. When the bullets flew, it was a eureka moment for all us, movie addicts. It cannot get better than that particular scene. But the way you put it in perspective of life is something fantastic. But I think for me, that one line which you mentioned, that your life is a printout of your subconscious behavior, is phenomenal. It cannot get bigger than that, because life is about your inner self and how you portray your external self. And correct me if I'm wrong in what I'm saying. Typically, there is a gap between what you are inside and what you are outside. You are most peaceful when you bridge that gap. It is very difficult to bridge that gap, because there are biases, there are complexes, which you mentioned in your book. But I am trying to bridge that gap in life. That is why I related to the book. When I was young, this gap was wide. Trust me, when I was young, I was an introvert. I'm still very bad at meeting new people, talking to new people. I'm very bad at it. But I've been able to hide that on the external side in my life. But the person who is most peaceful is the one who's bridged his subconscious with his external self. But it's how you train your subconscious, how you put pressure. The book I was mentioning earlier was a book by Nick Murray. He writes brilliantly on financial markets and for people like me. And he had taught me how to practice courage, how to give your mind homework. It's all about the subconscious, right? And what you've written about it is fantastic. I would recommend. It's a life-changing book, is what I can say.
this is the review that I'm going to take up this line, the life-changing book, if you don't mind, at the back. Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Swaroop, that you have such wonderful words to say about my book. So let's come to the dessert moment of the interview. So that is the last part of the interview. Let's have a bit, let's see what is the fun part of your personality, as you said.
Okay.
So, rapid fire.
Okay.
Which has been the most daring business decision till date?
I think joining Mirae Asset has been the most daring business decision, because when I joined in, it was a kind of a turnaround opportunity for me. The fund was not doing well. But I think my ability, and I'll back myself on this one, is my ability to choose knowing the potential of this fund is something which played out. I think it's a call which I took in closed door, because most of the friends and whoever I told them were saying, one of my biggest mentors and advisors and friend told me, you are doing ye suicide kar raha tu by joining this fund, right? But I think it was on a hindsight. People ask me, how did you take that call then? But that's what experience does to you, to probably identify a good opportunity. I think that for me, that was very risky at that point of time. But you have to take those risks if you have to change your career perspective or the positioning in your career. And I think it's a risk which I had taken, keeping in mind a lot of factors, and trust me, all those factors sort of played out.
Beautiful. You actually take challenges and opportunities as growth and success, right? Like you actually take it.
Yeah, one tries to, yes.
Right. Okay. So second question, which is your favorite book? Here my viewers are all...
I told you, On Being a Great Wholesaler is my biggest favorite book by Nick Murray. It is my Bible. It practically runs my life, and that's my most favorite book. The other book which I really like and I would really recommend to people, if it's available, is Passports to Profits by Mark Mobius. It's a fantastic book and one must read it. And a simple book, a life book of Jonathan Livingstone, The Seagull.
Oh, that is a wonderful book. That is something which I still remember as a kid, I used to sleep by it, I used to always keep it beside me. That's a beautiful book, and what an inspiring story, that Jonathan Livingstone Seagull.
Every time you read it, you get a new meaning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like you're living that life, right?
Right.
Jonathan Livingstone Seagull. So, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food is my own Odia food, but I don't get it much. But I'm a big fan of Chinese food. So now my son is graduating me to Japanese, but currently I've been exposed to Vietnamese food, and that's really fantastic.
Okay, wonderful.
Though I must say that one must try Korean food when you get it. It's another flavor and phenomenal way of blending health with taste.
Yeah, Koreans are very healthy people.
Yes.
I did try Korean food, but the seaweed taste was slightly different,
You have non-seaweed food also. I agree, seaweed can be a little, it's an acquired taste. Right. But there is a huge amount of non-seaweed food also.
Oh, wonderful. So who is your biggest critic? You have just mentioned your wife. Apart from that, if you have someone else.
My son.
Your son and your wife. Beautiful.
Yes, both of them. Both of them.
Wonderful.
Constructive critics.
I know. Actually, that is what it is, constructive criticism is what everyone is looking for. To bring out the best.
My office also. If I do something wrong or I've said something wrong somewhere in media, I am lynched in office, let me tell you. Ye kaise bol diya? So if I'm on a podium giving a wrong answer, trust me, when I come down, I'll be lynched. There's no doubt about it.
That's nice that you have people around you that you trust also so much that yes, I'm fine with being lynched.
I have to ask them at times, ki boss kaun hai? I have to ask them at times, boss kaun hai?
That's a wonderful attitude, I must say, Swaroop. So, what is your favorite travel destination? You just mentioned Kruger, apart from that, or Kenya.
No, I did Kenya, that's wildlife, but I'm a big history person. So for me, I think I'm fascinated by Rome as a city. in other cities, the part of history is in a museum, but the city itself is the museum. I mean, the road that you walk on were the roads that the Romans walked on. The benches that you sat on were the benches the Romans sat on, and it's been preserved. So I'll go back more times than that, but I think Rome has been fascinating for me.
Beautiful.
Vatican, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I understand you are not an indoor person, you are an outdoorsy person, correct?
No, I'm both. I mean, indoors, I have enough to do at home, so I spend both. It's to like what you do when you're at home.
So where do you stand? Where do you give yourself? Indoor, like indoor or outdoor?
50-50.
50-50 is sitting on the fence, right?
I'll tell you that because as friends, we've stopped going out to restaurants or not, so we meet at homes now. Okay. Yeah. And a lot of food happens at my house, at my friend's house. So it is basically home when you meet out. We've stopped going to parties and all that. That's not something which attracts us much. So when at home, it's always good music, and I listen to music in the analog format, which is the old LP records. I have a decent collection of them. So you have to spend time with your music. So a lot of time goes there. I'm a Netflix addict, so very few movies I wouldn't have seen. So there is enough time I spend at home. It's not that I'm an outdoor person, but when I'm an outdoor person, mostly I'm traveling because by work I travel 2 days a week, which is non-COVID times. So it is balanced out.
You have varied interest, I must say. You have the interest is in food, music, traveling, and it's quite varied. That's very nice. Like we call it buzz moments. Like if you have multiple buzz moments, and you enjoy being home, you enjoy being outside. That's wonderful. In fact, that's wonderful. So, apart from business, what is it that keeps you going? What is that spices up your life, that makes you, yes, I need to go on?
I think listening to music is a huge part of my life, and I spend a lot of time listening to music, and that really calms you down. It also, refreshes you and makes you ready for the next day.
Very true, very true. So we are here at the end of the interview, and one last question just for the viewers. What is that one habit you would ask them to develop, or one thing that you would really request them, advise them, that could really be life-changing for them?
So it's not life-changing or anything. I think one ex-boss of mine told me when I asked him the same question, he said just 4 words: meet more, read more.
Really, this is truly very, very inspiring and very enriching, to tell you the truth, Swaroop. The talk has been very enriching. Like I'm sure the viewers will have a wonderful time and going through the interview, and this will really add value to them. Thank you so much for being here, and guys, thank you so much. Keep coming here at Manifest Your Quest. Let me thank Swaroop Mohanty as well for being at my channel, Manifest Your Quest, and sharing his ideas, his views towards life and towards manifestation. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.